Welcome to EDGEucation, a show where we tell you what you need to know about what's going on in the world of action sports. Welcome to DarkFEST, one of the gnarliest action sports events in the world. In the world of free-ride mountain biking, DarkFEST in South Africa stands alone. The course is built by the riders, for the riders, and features some of the biggest jumps in the world. In this show, we'll take you inside the event to bring you the best of the action and introduce the riders who are ripping it up. Unwavering commitment. Unbelievable skill. And some killer style. DarkFEST is free-ride mountain biking at its best, featuring jumps bigger than 2 double-decker buses and some of the baddest riders in the world coming together on a mountainside in South Africa. DarkFEST was hosted by British rider Sam Reynolds. Last month, he invited some of his buddies to hit the jump with him. And it just so happens that those guys are some of the best free riders in the world. So we asked him, what were his hopes ahead of this year's event?
For me, to be honest, first and foremost, wanting to make sure all the riders come and have a great time. Secondly, from an event point of view, I want to make sure everyone enjoys that. But also, yeah, a bit of to try and show the younger kids what mountain biking can do. It can show you all different places of the world. You can meet all new friends that are going to be your lifetime friends. And if we could inspire 1 or 2 kids to jump on a bike, then I think that would be a good job done.
Pure Darkness, as it was previously known, started off as a platform for Sam and his friends to experiment with some new tricks, but it now features as part of the renowned FEST series. The event is built on a strong sense of camaraderie, as the riders get together to hit big jumps and root for each other on and off the course. Canadian rider Matt McDuff came out to South Africa for the event and for the fun.
It's pretty awesome. I mean, the guys are a family for sure. When you're out there risking your life, you kind of develop a bond, you know, and that definitely translates further than just mountain bikes. And all the guys here are awesome dudes and everyone's friends, so it makes a good time.
Yeah, and the guys rip too. Huge whips and 90-foot backies rival some of the biggest at any other event. But at DarkFEST, the riders judge between themselves who put down the best trick and the best line.
FEST series in general, especially DarkFEST down here, is just such a unique event because of the vibe. The vibe is just such a good mindset with all the riders. I mean, everyone just wants to support each other, have a good time, and go as mental as possible. I mean, it's crazy how, happy and almost relaxed and normal the vibe is when we're hitting 100-foot jumps, It's some of the craziest stuff ever done on bikes. So that's what makes it different, It's so massive, it's so gnarly, and you don't really see it anywhere. But it's just the way we have fun, and we're so casual about it. So I think that's what kind of makes it stand out.
As we can see, DarkFEST is truly a unique event for the riders, by the riders. But one of the things that makes this course so great is its designer, Sam Reynolds.
Yo.
Compared to other free-ride mountain biking competitions, DarkFEST is an event in which the riders have total control. From the build to judging the tricks, they make the decisions. This year, Sam Reynolds headed up a team of 3 riders that oversaw the course design, right from inception to completion. They designed it, they built it, and they rode it.
Well, that's kind of what the whole FEST series thing is about. We've all been competing for the last 10 years or 5 years or something, and that gets pretty tiring, especially when the courses aren't maybe as good as what you think they could be. So here it's just more about making the best possible line. If someone gets a wicked shot, then we're all super excited, and it's much more of a team effort. We're sort of competing together rather than against each other, which makes it really refreshing and why I like it so much.
When did you start the build?
We started the build in early January. I've been here for 4 weeks already building. We had 3 23-ton machines working flat out for 2 weeks, kind of, and then we stepped back to just 2 for the next 2 weeks, and then week 3 was more sort of fine-tuning and really perfecting it, and week 4 was testing.
So you start up on the sort of ridge at the top, and then kind of tell us how the course unwinds from there.
Yeah, so you start off right at the top. It's a pretty steep section, but we wanted to sort of break you in gently. So there's a few small little shark fin left-right flowy jumps that are pretty small, maybe sort of 5 or 6 meters, and you sort of build up a little bit of speed there, get your flow going. Then you jump across the road gap into the big old landing, and that's where it starts to get serious. You build up all your speed into the longest jump on course, which is the 90-foot jump there, the big beast. That's what everyone's most scared of, and I guess maybe the most impressive jump, but it's super fun. Then we come into the long and low race jump, which kind of is a direction changer into the bank, which we built the big hip out of, off one direction and land another one. So you sort of turn left in the air, and they're real fun because you can lean the bike in and sort of hang off the side. Then that shoots you down across another road gap, down the massive, big old long landing there into the valley to build up all your speed. I think we're hitting about 50 miles an hour almost down there, into the final jump, which is the big tall step up, which is sort of a good trick jump, and that's how we wanted to finish the line.
So we're here at the last jump of the line, the big step up, where we've been seeing some pretty crazy tricks go down. Talk us through the jump, and then maybe some of the tricks you guys have been doing on it.
Yeah, so this one seems to be a lot of people's favorite jump. It sends you really high, not quite so fast. That means sort of when you land, you don't land with so much speed. Yes. So it's really good for tricks, because if you crash, it's not quite so bad as crashing the big jump. And yeah, everyone's been throwing down some huge tricks on here. We've already seen front flips, cash rolls, back flips, and I'm sure there's plenty more to come when everyone gets proper warmed up.
Oh. Will you guys judge a winner at the end of the open day?
Yeah, kind of. There is an official winner. We have like a best trick prize and a best whip prize and sort of a best run prize. But it's not really super important. I mean, a few guys are definitely going to try and win it. But it's more as simple as we write down the names in the hat of our favorite trick or whatever, and then we count up the votes, and whoever wins wins. It's a real for riders by riders, and to be judged good by your friends is way better feeling than judged by the judges, kind of.
One guy who consistently takes the top honors at competitive FMB Diamond Series events is American Nikolai Rogatkin. Consistently one of the best competitive freeriders in the world, he finished 2016 ranked #1 in the FMB World Rankings and will be the defending champ at Crankworx Innsbruck this year. Nikolai became BMX World Champion before he turned 18. However, he soon switched to riding mountain bikes.
I was definitely more of a dirt jump rider, a guy who liked to do the big jumps, the big tricks. I just always had like crazy respect for mountain biking, because the stuff they did was just so massive, and some of my mountain bike buddies, a lot of guys that I rode shows with, were just sending it so hard on the mountain bikes, and it seemed like the dirt jump scene in BMX was kind of fading away. The focus in the sport was more shifting towards the street. So that's why I kind of got inspired to get into mountain bike and just see how things would go. It was definitely super different. I mean, bigger wheels. I wasn't used to any suspension. You know, the slopestyle course features those weird wooden drops, and everything was just so much bigger. So it took me quite a while to get used to it, but after some good results in my first competitions, it was just the green light from there, and yeah, I've stayed in the mountain bike world ever since, so I feel right at home. The high point of my career, yeah, I mean, I can't say anything besides winning the world championships, like things you can't dream of in your wildest dreams when you're a kid.
In 2016, Nikolai clinched the FMB World Tour Diamond Series and the FIS World Series. He's always pushing the boundaries and invented the Twister, a front flip 720. He's one of the world's most daring riders, but that's not to say he's fearless.
all the professional riders, if we seem not scared, if we seem crazy, there's always those nerves involved because, you know, we obviously know the risk. We probably know the risk better than anyone, better than the people watching. So we have huge respect for that. And yeah, obviously before you're going to hit massive jumps, you have to be fully focused. I mean, there's no messing around. Everything is a factor in that moment. Having respect for the danger of the sport definitely creates some fear. Yeah, when there's no fear involved, then that means you're not really sending it hard enough. So yeah, the fear kind of keeps you going and keeps making you realize that you're going big. The sensations that we feel out there on course are almost impossible to put words to. I mean, you can't really describe it unless you put the person in that moment and give them that feeling because it's so fast. It's such little mistakes can create such crazy consequences. It's terrifying, but it's the craziest adrenaline rush ever. I mean, why would we do it if it wasn't insanely fun? And yeah, you know, just pushing yourself and doing things that you're not sure if they're gonna work or not, it's definitely a feeling that's hard to describe. And yeah, like I said, you can't really put words to it. You just gotta live the moment. You know, it's so fast, it's so gnarly. There's such possibility for high consequences. So yeah, it's almost indescribable. For us riders, we can make the craziest list of reasons why we put the time in and are able to crash and get back up because, you know, it's our passion, it's our life. Like, why wouldn't we sacrifice everything for a sport that's given us so much opportunity? So for me personally, it's just the impact that us riders could have on other people's riding lives. You know, if you're a role model for a young rider that becomes a world champ later in life, or you know, just inspiring people. You know, you meet these people that reach out to you and are just so stoked on what you're doing, and yeah, it just makes a big impact. And every time you crash after that, you just have that extra incentive to get back up and keep moving because you know you could be making an impact on the next generation's life.
After the break, we meet death-defying Adolf Silva, and we talk tech with Ethan Nell and Jordy Lund.
It's been a pretty wild couple days at DarkFEST. We've had a great few sessions, but it's the last day. Got a little bit of rain last night, so the course is set up well, and we can't wait to see what the guys have in store. Let's go check it out.
This year's course was built in Stellenbosch in the Western Cape of South Africa, a region facing a real water shortage. So the rain on the final day was welcomed by the locals and the riders. Prior to that, the dryness of the course and the ever-changing wind conditions meant the risk of crashing was too high.
Normally maybe we have like a promoter or sponsors who are saying, hey, everyone's here, you know, it's windy, but you got to ride. When as here, kind of, I've been in those contests, I know that's terrible. So the boys are like, oh, do you want us to ride? But to be honest, if they're not feeling it, then they don't have to ride at all. And we got some gaps in the wind, and then everyone was instantly riding because they wanted to, and you could tell straight away because they're throwing down and having a good time.
When the runs went right, they were pretty spectacular.
Oh my God!
But when they went wrong,
yeah, just having respect for the danger of the sport definitely creates some fear, especially at events like this where you know you maybe haven't experimented with features or tricks that you're going to do here. So yeah, there's huge fear involved.
Oh, it's not just a challenge. It actually it's a challenge with real consequences. Like if you don't rise to the occasion, you know, you're gonna sit on your couch for 6 months. And that to me is really appealing when I can muster up enough energy to overcome whatever it is I want to overcome and beat the odds, and that feels awesome.
the sport can be super hectic, and crashes are common. But for most of these riders, the element of risk is part of the thrill.
While watching these guys ride, it can be easy to forget how incredibly difficult and dangerous a sport this is. One guy who knows that all too well is Adolf Silva. He suffered some pretty serious injuries in his career, but throughout, all he could think about was getting back on his bike. We catch up with him and learn a little bit about the mentality that pushes these guys on.
It was a super stupid crash, but sometimes just happens. And then I just hit just a point in my back, right on the kidney, and it just blew up. As soon as I got up, I just felt like something was wrong, because like my whole inside was burning. I kind of like couldn't breathe a lot, and I was like getting dizzy and all that stuff. When I was in the hospital, the doctors actually told my mom that I was dead. Like, they just told them that they couldn't do anything about it, and all they could do is just wait and see if it would get better or not. I was in coma for 20 days, and then since the day one that I woke up, I told my mom that I wanted to get back on my bike, and like, I never thought about just stop riding or anything.
Adolf Silva is one of the most daring freestyle riders of his generation. Every time he shreds, he pushes the limits of what is humanly possible. However, a few years ago, he slipped on a berm at the band's Kill the Line event. Although he describes the fall in fairly nonchalant terms, Adolf suffered a punctured kidney and utera, internal bleeding, and extreme fever following the crash, which almost cost him his life. But almost as soon as he recovered from the coma, he was hitting the jumps again.
They're scary for sure, but they're just so perfect that you don't even think about it. You just hit it and it feels super nice and super good. You just want to hit it again. When I crash, I don't really think of what happened and like, oh, I don't want to do it again and all that stuff. All I think is just like, I just think that it's an accident, and an accident for me can happen, I don't know, just riding my bike, or it could happen just driving my car, you know?
Since he's come back, Adolf has competed in the likes of Fees and Masters of Dirt. But the 20-year-old Spaniard lives for the big jumps, and they don't come much bigger than those at DarkFEST.
So Fest Series events for me are actually like the events I like, because it's kind of just the event that you go and you have a week or two, you just ride and shred the jumps, and you kind of just express yourself and do whatever you want. Like, you have no pressure. You don't have to drop in when they tell you to. You don't have to ride when they tell you to. And you don't get judged. You just ride and film and show what you can do. And that's what I like to do, just be free and do whatever I want.
Adolf is definitely known as the class clown at the Fest Series. Such is his carefree attitude. Given his life-threatening accident, he is embracing every opportunity that presents itself. Away from mountain biking, Adolf stays active by kiteboarding and riding FMX bikes. But to get a taste of something else, he's also taken to skydiving. Adolf has completed a number of skydives and started following in the footsteps of his mother, who is a base jumper.
It's a really big, different feeling, jumping from a plane than riding the jumps. Sometimes it's scary, but I really like doing it and I enjoy it a lot. Actually, I feel like I have more control falling out of an airplane, because like the air is actually like you can, if you understand how it hits you and all that stuff, you can control every single movement in it, and it's like super. Well, for me, it's one of the safest sports I do. Like, it's safer than mountain biking, I think, but it's just different.
It's in mountain biking that Adolf truly excels, and he's already one of the most exciting riders to watch. At DarkFEST, he landed a huge backflip on the 90-footer and kept his line flowing with a seat grab Indian over the hip. Going forward, he simply hopes to continue pushing the boundaries in the sport he loves.
What I like about mountain biking is just that you can go bigger, you can do bigger jumps, you can do bigger tricks. The bike's more stable, so that means you can do more kind of like moto tricks. That's what I like the most. am crazy. Like they are extreme sports, but I just love doing it, and it just makes me happy, and I enjoy it. So I'm just gonna keep doing it forever.
Despite the inevitable dangers of the sport, these guys love riding bikes, hanging out, and trying to express themselves in new ways. With a huge 90-foot jump and a 27-foot near vertical step-up, it's important these guys set themselves up correctly. We caught up with two of the riders to find out what spec they use to ride the DarkFEST course.
So we're here with Ethan and George. Out here hitting some big jumps, but tell us about some of the equipment you guys are riding, and specifically what makes what you guys are riding different than other sort of mountain biking styles.
Both Ethan and I are on YT Industry 2's bikes. Both of us run our suspension really stiff.
Yeah, high tire pressure so we can roll fast for the big jumps.
So obviously you guys are riding some pretty big dirt jumps. How different is the riding here compared to some of the other mountain bike riding disciplines like downhill?
If you're in the bike park, you're usually running your suspension nice and soft, you know, it soaks all the little bumps up and stuff, versus out here when we land, we don't want to sink in so much, so we keep it stiff so we can get a little more pump out of everything.
Yeah, the courses here are relatively smooth, so we're just trying to gain as much speed as possible basically through the whole course. So stiff suspension helps a ton with that, as well as a lot of tire pressure in our tires so that we get good rolling speed and don't compress into things as much.
And you guys were talking about a little bit about wheel size and how big a difference that makes going over some of the jumps.
Yeah, well, like I run the 27.5 wheels and they seem to carry a little more speed, but like Ethan still runs the 26 and
helps me a bit more with the spins and stuff, less rotational force on the big jumps.
So Ethan's got a custom back end set up that he mentioned. Is there anything custom on your bike, George?
What I do for the big wheels is I trim my seat out so that I can run my seat low enough without my tire buzzing on the seat. So it's just like a positional thing so that I don't have to run my seat so high because the wheel is bigger, right?
So if you hit hard enough, your wheel can hit your seat.
Exactly, yeah, and that happens much less with the 26-inch wheel rather than the 27 because it's much bigger. Yeah.
Got it. And tell us about what you, how you set yourself up to come ride, because obviously there's some pretty big hits out here. How do you prepare for that?
Not think about things, good protection, ankle braces, chest protector, good helmet, gloves. Try to stay as safe as we can for how wild it is out here.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, and a lot of it I think is we're all confident in ourselves, but even more so confident in each other. You know, you see your buddy hit one of these jumps, and then I think that in the end,
For sure.
you know, it gives you the confidence.
And we see each other riding. We ride together around the whole world all year long, so we kind of feed off each other a lot. And when we see our buddy do something good, then we feel like it helps us with confidence as well.
We've had a great couple days here at the stunning Verberg farm, but as the crowds pour in, the guys have taken their riding to a whole new level. Yeah! Yeah!
The unpredictability of DarkFEST attracted quite a crowd on the final day. Both hardcore fans and those completely new to mountain biking descended on the farm in Stellenbosch to marvel at the sport and the style. It's a great turnout for an event that started only a few years ago with just a couple riders.
Since the first Pure Darknesses, as you can see, there was no one watching us then. We were just filming in the woods, and now there's, I don't know, 1,000 people here or something, and they seem to be having a good time. So it's come a long way, but hopefully we've still got that same sort of Pure Darkness attitude in there where we're sending it with our friends, making a cool video, and I had a great time, so I know it's still there for me.
For the final day, all the riders really brought it for the fans. Sam Reynolds took the Best Whip Award. And 20-year-old Spaniard Adolf Silva rode the best line. Nikolai Rogatkin was bestowed the best trick prize for his impressive cash roll on the step-up.
After hitting that big jump on course yesterday, I can confidently say it's the biggest one I ever hit. A few years ago, I hit the canyon gap at Rampage, and that was a very worthy opponent. Also a near 90-foot jump, but that beast yesterday, I think, was the new winner. So yeah, the biggest jumps ever for sure. And the last one, easily the biggest step up I've ever hit, biggest trick jump. So yeah, definitely in a new realm of riding.
It's been a truly amazing exhibition of freeride mountain biking at DarkFEST this year. From building the course to getting the bikes ready, a lot of prep is required. There are inevitable risks, but when the guys got it right out there, the height and the flare achieved on those jumps was something pretty spectacular.